This day and age, reading the good news on the newspaper page, and love and tradition of the grand design, some people say is even harder to find. Well, then there must be some magic clue inside these gentle walls, 'cause all I see is a tower of dreams, real love bursting out of every scene.
Hi, Dad. How are you doing? Hi, bozo. Sometimes when you call me a bozo, it hurts my feelings. When I make those jokes, it's my way of telling you that I care about you. What's the problem, son? I'm just so bored, and I know that I gotta do math, but I just can't bring myself to doing that. Do you ever feel like that? Oh, you're telling me I have to do yard work today. I don't want to do that. Hey-o! Oh, look at this bozo. All right, guys, I've got an exciting new lesson today. Are we ready for some math? I feel like I'm talking to myself sometimes. He's talking to himself. He's talking to himself. I'll tell you a good joke. Two goldfish are in a tank. One says to the other, "Do you know how to drive this thing?" You don't find that funny? Well, at least someone's here for math. Wilson! Hey, Wilson! Oh, Wilson is the coolest! Wow, Wilson rules. Let's just go forwards. Time for math. Well, if Wilson wants to do math, I'm kind of excited. Welcome to another lesson. Today's lesson is going to be on reading and interpreting graphs. Now here's the thing. There's many different types of graphs. In fact, there's a monkey barrel full of graphs. And they each can serve their own purpose. Like, some of them might seem like they're really strange. But the thing about it is that in certain instances, depending on the data that you have, they all have their place. A graph is to take data and make it easier to understand. It's so that people can interpret it in a much more simple form. And they're a huge part of mathematics. In fact, if you look at basically the world, when we are given information and we're given just numbers and data, we like to have the graph for the visualization of it. The beauty of graphs, if you have a good graph, it is absolutely fantastic. It's the greatest thing in the world. If you do a graph poorly, it's a complete waste of time. I would rather look at the table. The table is the data that you have that's collected. It's just basically raw numbers. And you want to take the table and transform it into a graph. But we're only really going to be concentrating on 4 types of graph. We're going to be doing a series of points. We're going to be doing a line graph, where all those points are connected. We're also going to be doing bar graphs. And last, but also least, because I think who cares about these? Last is pictographs. Pictographs are like the pandas of the graph world. Dad, are pandas stupid? Pandas are pretty useless. Now, when you're making a graph, there are certain things that are just super important. For one, you need absolute consistency, that everything works in a linear fashion, and that the scale that is used for the graph is consistent. You need consistency and accuracy. The scale is how much the numbers jump up by. And depending on the data that you have, the scales will represent it. So for instance, say as if your numbers, you ask everyone in the classroom what their favorite animal is. And you have 14 for dogs, 5 for cats, 3 for turtles, so on. You're going to want to jump up by maybe 2s, even possibly 3s or 5s. Now, if you're talking about you did the same question with the people of Canada, you're talking about millions of people. You can't have your numbers jump up by 2, 3, or 5 because your graph is going to be bigger than the Empire State Building. What you're going to do instead is you're going to jump up by huge numbers, 100,000s or something like that. Math is great. Math rules. So the most important thing about a graph is that you keep it consistent, that you have it accurate, that you have a good scale, and you need to have a title for sure. Because otherwise people look at it and they say, well, what's this all about? And that you do it neat enough that the whole thing is just very easy for someone to read. And that's basically the lesson. And lucky for all the students this week, we have not 1, not 2, but 3 assignments. Wow, only 3 assignments? I wish we had more. It's time for us to do our math, the best part of the day. I'm so excited. Thank you so much. Oh, I wish I could do this math, but I gotta do yard work instead.